You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation and someone says, hey, let me coach you on this. But what they really do is just give you a ton of advice. Or maybe it's the other way around. It happens all the time. And it really gets to the heart of a huge mix-up in leadership and personal development.
So let's just cut right to it with this one question. When you're trying to help somebody, what's your default move? Do you lean in and share your own experiences, offering up solutions, or do you kind of lean back and ask questions to help them figure out their own path? Your gut reaction to that? Well, that's pretty much the key to understanding the difference between these two really powerful tools.
The Association for Talent Development points this out perfectly. We tend to throw these words around like they're the same thing, but as we're going to see, they describe totally different relationships. Each one has its own purpose, its own process, and its own power. And look, getting this right isn't just about using the right words, it's about choosing the right tool for the job.
To really get to the heart of what coaching is, we first have to meet this little character that, let's be honest, lives inside most of us. It's that voice that just loves having the answer, the one that's always ready to jump in and help. We need to talk about taming your advice monster.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because it turns out this inner impulse has a few different faces. Michael Bungay Stanier breaks it down into 3 personas. First, you've got Tell It, which just can't help but blurt out the answer. Then there's Save It, the one that tries to rescue someone from their struggle. And finally, Control It, which just subtly takes over the whole situation. Figuring out which one is your go-to is the very first step to becoming a great coach.
And this quote from Liz Wiseman just hits it right on the head. It shows exactly why taming that monster is so crucial. Real leadership isn't about being the hero with all the answers. It's about building up the skills and confidence in other people. And yeah, it is so hard to resist solving the problem yourself. But in that resistance, that's where the real growth happens, for them and for you too.
So if we boil this all down to its absolute essence, this is it. A mentor shares their experience, they've walked a path, and they can offer you a map. A coach, on the other hand, helps you draw your own map by unlocking the potential that's already inside you. One is about transferring knowledge, the other is about facilitating discovery.
Okay, so we've nailed down the core difference. Now let's go a little deeper. Because coaching isn't just a bunch of techniques, it's a whole philosophy. It's built on some pretty profound ideas about human potential that have, believe it or not, been around for centuries.
Yeah, the roots of coaching go all the way back to ancient Greece with the Socratic method. Socrates had this belief that wisdom isn't something you're given. It's something that's awakened within you. He never gave answers. Instead, he asked these disciplined, probing questions that made people really examine their own beliefs and find their own truths. This is, without a doubt, the absolute DNA of modern coaching.
In today's coaching world, we call this holding space. And it's not a passive thing at all. It's about being so completely present for another person that they feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to explore their confusion, and ultimately to find their own clarity. In this whole practice, the coach's focused, non-judgmental presence is the most powerful tool they have.
The amazing psychologist Carl Rogers gave a name to the foundation of this safe space: unconditional positive regard. It's this deep belief in another person's inherent value, totally separate from what they do or the choices they make. It's not about agreeing with them, it's about valuing them as a person. And without that, you can't have real trust or authenticity. It's just impossible.
And this really pulls it all together, doesn't it? The coaching mindset is this powerful mix of skills, like asking great questions, but it's also a deep-seated belief system. It's a system that trusts that the other person is resourceful and that the goal is to co-create a path forward, not dictate one.
All right, so we've dug into the philosophy. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually know which approach you need? Or if you're a leader, which one you should be using? How do you choose the right development path?
This framework from the ATD is just fantastic for making it all clear. Just look at the role. Mentoring is a dialogue. It's about talking with a person. Coaching is about deep listening to them. The focus is different too. Mentoring often looks at the big long-term picture of a career. Coaching is usually much more structured and zeroed in on a specific goal. And the tools reflect that. One is built on a pretty informal agreement, while the other often uses formal assessments to really target those specific outcomes.
So look, the goal here is not to pick a winner. It's not coaching versus mentoring. The most effective leaders, the best organizations, they don't choose one over the other. They get that both are essential, and they know how to use each one in just the right situation.
And that brings up a really common question.
The answer is yes. A single person can definitely have both skill sets. But, and this is a big but, the best practice is to not try to be both in the same conversation. You have to be crystal clear about which hat you're wearing. Are you in advice-giving mentor mode right now, or are you in question-asking coach mode? Bouncing between them without saying so just creates a ton of confusion.
But for all their differences, they are built on the same powerful foundation. Both require trust, respect, and open communication. Both are there to help people and companies grow, and neither one can succeed in a vacuum. They both need clear expectations and real support from leadership to actually make a difference.
But if you need one final number to really hammer home the unique power of coaching, this is it. Research shows that when a manager just tells an employee something, how much do they remember 3 months later? A measly 10%. But when they use non-directive coaching to help that employee discover the solution for themselves, that number skyrockets to an incredible 95%. That's the difference between being told something and truly owning an insight.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The next time you're in that moment, when you can feel your advice monster getting ready to pounce with the perfect solution, just remember the choice you have. Will you tell, or will you ask? Because that simple choice is the difference